Good afternoon and welcome everyone on this Wednesday, April 22nd, 2020 for the fourth episode of State of the Grizz. We are very happy to be coming to you live and direct from our dual home offices in Orange, New Jersey and Brooklyn, New York. Uh, Today's show features another stunning cavalcade of guests. But I, one of your co-hosts, Nelson Melendez, am very happy to be with you in what feels like day 5,396 of a hostage situation. Dean, how are you doing this afternoon? How are things over in your neck of the woods?
Nestor, good afternoon to you and to all of our guests and to the students that are going to watch this as it gets posted online. Things are going well. I got no complaints. Learning new skills. I think I mentioned a couple of weeks ago that I've been cutting my hair. It's something to polish up on. And as you get older, you have a little less hair. It makes a little less sense to go back and forth to a barbershop. But that's going well. Feeling blessed and very happy to be here and to have an opportunity to speak with two of our esteemed colleagues, Mr. Nelson Castro and Ms. Bindi Patel. And we'll go into formal introductions to them and with them in a minute. But I just wanted to take a moment and just go over a couple of things and really give students and community members an update on what's going on. So as you know, every Monday we push out a message to the students and we push out a message to faculty and staff from the Office of Student Engagement. This week's student message centered around reaching out if you need help. So students, if you still need a computer, please continue to reach out. We still have computers available to you. If you're having trouble with internet access, please also reach out about that. In addition to those critical pieces centered on your academic success, we also have support for you for every other, many other issues that might be feeling like a drain or stress to you for your academic success and also for your just personal comfort if we want to make sure that those things don't interfere. That said, I want to take a moment to thank our students. I know you all had spring break last week, and a number of you still were able to log in and participate, so thank you for that. But also want to thank you for your continued energy and resilience. You guys truly are amazing, and I'm always blown away by the stories that I hear from you and what's going on in your lives and the things that you persevere through and the things that you thrive and are successful through. So thank you for that. But also would like to say Happy Administrative Professionals Day to all the administrative professionals here at the college and around the world. And also today, while I'm wearing green, my daughter reminded me today is Earth Day. So we actually took some time today to, she took some time today already. I'm going to take some time later and plant some flowers and some plants, some potted ones, and maybe one or two outside. Though it's a little cold for me to be outside messing around in the dirt. But like I said, happy Administrative Professionals Day, happy Earth Day. And then I want to just take a moment to say thank you to all of our first responders. Thank you to all of our folks who are essential employees. You guys have really helped to keep us afloat as a society. And, many of you know this, and, my mother was a nurse for 2 years. So I have tremendous respect for our healthcare workers and those on the front line of this. We thank you for your service. We're here, we're staying inside and staying safe so that you can help us and continue to lead us to beat this thing. So thank you for that. And thank you to our essential workers, those that are continue to deliver our food and all of our Amazon binge buying. We really do appreciate you, but it makes being inside for what is now week 6, I think, with the stay-at-home orders. It really makes it more than manageable. Really haven't skipped a beat in many of the things that I do on a day in and day out basis. And that's because the supplies, the things that I need, the things that my family needs, continue to show up at our doorstep. And we wouldn't be able to do those things without you. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart and on behalf of the Gutman College College community. We really appreciate you, and we're going to do our part and stay inside so that you can continue to help us to beat this, so that when we return to outside, we don't start another curve. And we're going to flatten the curve, and we're going to do it together. So thank you, thank you, thank you for all that you do and continue to do, and know that we truly appreciate you.
Yeah.
So going back to students, Ness, when I was a student and we returned from spring break, there was always that like pause, like, how do I catch my breath again? How do I, pick up the pieces, so to speak? And I know that's what a number of students are going through. Like I said, we have the academic stuff, but then we have the things that are kind of just beyond the bounds of the classroom, and that's really the center of what we talk with students about today. And that's why, again, we have Mr. Nelson Castro. He is one of our phenomenal student success advocates, and also an advisor for Undocumented, which I'll let him more about what that organization does officially, but from where I stand, it provides necessary support for those that are currently undocumented. And it's interesting when talk about undocumented folks in the United States, which is a country built on for, by, and of immigrants. That's why I said it's necessary support. So I thank you, Nelson, for your work. And as usual, please know that I'm here to support you and all of our students, but with special care to our students that are undocumented and don't have the benefit of certain aid that many of our other students enjoy. And like I said, we also have Ms. Bindi Patel, Deputy to the Dean of Student Engagement. So clearly we, work close together quite regularly. But right now she's here to talk about some of the opportunities for support through our single stop office, as well as some other COVID-19 related funds that the college has been able to put together with the help of our the college's chief of staff, Dr. Linda Marians, and her team have really, I think, done a phenomenal job in acquiring funds, but also maintaining relationships with those that have an affinity for the college, our students, and what it is that we are here to provide and to do, and that is to continue to provide a strong foundation for community college students, those choosing to become Grizzlies. So we're gonna start off with Nelson, and I'll open the floor to let him just give you a little bit of background about himself and a little bit about Undocumented, and then we'll ask some questions. So Nelson, welcome, man. I love the hat.
You know what? When I got invited by Nestor and the dean, I knew I had to bring it. So I went in my repertoire. Yeah, Sunday best on a Wednesday. Well, thank you. Thank you for that introduction. So again, my name is Nelson Castro. If you see me a little distracted, my little baby boy got sick yesterday, so he's a little fussy today. So if you hear a little squeal, he's smiling now because he heard his name, Cusita. So if you hear little squeals and screams, I apologize in advance. He's he's trying to get better. But yeah, so my work started at Gutman when I went to a training at CUNY Central for uh, documented spaces to provide safer spaces not only for students but to train faculty. I got chosen with one of my colleagues, Kedell, who's not with us at Gutman anymore, but we miss you, brother. So if you're watching, much love, big abrazo. And what came out of it was we came back and we organized a town hall meeting just for students, right? We wanted to hear from the students to hear how they felt the Gutman climate as far as the undocumented community and allies was at present time. We were intentional about not inviting other staff or faculty just because we wanted the students in the space. We wanted them to feel like a safe space, and we wanted them to be able to voice their opinions clearly. And one of the things that they voiced was that they didn't feel like there was a safe space at Gutman at the time. So Canal and I started working with a group of students. What came out of it was a student organization named One More. The last year and a half, we've been doing a lot of the groundwork, a lot of the foundational stuff, and we're currently in the final stages with Nestor to become an official student organization. So we're looking forward to that. You'll see our presence a lot stronger. It's a student-centered, student-run organization. We felt that in order for the students to truly take ownership, have a passion for what they do with the org, they needed to feel like it was theirs. So so you'll be seeing that, right? And today I just kind of wanted to share some resources regarding the undocumented community, not just with COVID, but in general. So what I've learned too with this work is that it matters who's sending the message. So, if someone that the students don't know too well, or someone that the students just don't have that trust with, you could be offering one of the best resources, but it may not be taken that way by the student, or whoever is in need. So what I did was I focused on a couple of things that students of mine have actually like reached out to or used their resources, right? And then I also accumulated a couple of pages on Instagram, right? Because a couple of handles that are helpful. And the reason why I did that was because, you all are going to forget my face right after I'm done talking here, right? But if you follow someone on Instagram, you'll get constant reminders of them, throughout your day. So I went through mine, and I found the ones that I thought were the most helpful. And a lot of them are doing work revolving the COVID and Corona and stuff. So I felt that was a good way to engage the students, kind of meeting them where they're at, type of thing. So Nestor, if you could kick us off to the beginning of that little PP. All right, I'm gonna follow along here too. So again, it matters who's sending the message, right? So the resources that I pulled for today have come from these resources here. So the informed immigrant. I didn't want to put in the web pages because they're kind of big and long, but you could just Google these keywords, and it'll pop up. It'll be like one of the first things that pop up. But informed immigrant, New York Immigration Coalition, Make the Road NY, and then the NYC Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs is where I pulled some of these resources from. So again, some of these can be very intimidating to look at first, right? So what I would recommend is if you want to reach out to myself, I'm happy to help you through some of these processes. And again, also the Instagram handles I'm going to kind of talk about later on. They're really good at advocating and helping as well. So you can send them a DM and see your situation, and they could also provide some help. Yep, keep it moving. So a couple of highlights, or what I hear a lot from students recently are where to get meals, where to get help with housing, and health benefits, and where to get checked up and things of that nature. It's important to note too that these are kind of subjects and things that affect the not only the undocumented community, but the Black and Latino community in many ways, which this virus has just highlighted and made more apparent. So these three are challenging in itself, let alone in the time of COVID. So I'll give like a resource or two for each one. We'll go to the next slide. Let's see. Are you on the NYC Department of Education? Let's go back one, a couple more. Or I could just meet you where you're at, Nestor. Hold on. Let's see. Where are you at? Housing and rent. Okay. All right. Well, we're playing tag with these circles. So let me go. Stay there, Nestor. Stay there. I'll go to you. All right. So the NYC Department of Education, right? So they're providing free meals, and you can find the location that's near you. It's grab and go, so it's not something you have to stay there and partake there. You can take meals home, and it's more than one meal, right? So you can take all meals home. It's open Monday through Friday from 7:30 to 1:30. And let's see. No one will be turned away, right? So this is for everybody. They're not checking any kind of registration, no ID. There's no documentation required. Again, you could pick up the 3 meals for the day at once. Parents and guardians may pick up meals for their children. And there are exclusive sites for kosher and dietary restrictions. So you can text this number here, 877 food and or comida, and you'll get the information on where to go that's closer to you, or you can go to their website if that's easier, if you're better at navigating that. Okay. Which one are you going to next, Nestor? All right. So health and hospitals.
Yeah, the thing is jumping on my page. It jumps all over the place. So
Yeah, it's all good. I'll just land where you land, type of thing.
okay.
So yeah. So it's important to know that, right? That if there's something physically wrong with you, especially with your health, right? It's important that you know that you do have rights and you do have needs that need to be addressed. And NYC Health and Hospitals does a good job of making the undocumented community feel welcomed. Um, they have on their website, we welcome all patients at NYC Health, no matter what your immigration status is. That is our commitment, and it will never, right? So you can again go to their website, or you can call this number here, 1-888-1844 NYC for NYC. Let's go to the next one. And again, I just want to repeat that these are some of the ones that our students have, or my students in my house have used, right? So again, I can't say this enough, but it matters who the message is coming across from, right? So if you need support with that, let me know. Can you go to the housing and rent one, Nestor? As Nestor Gester, just like want to say the message that when it comes to housing, rent, right? No one can get evicted right now, no matter of immigration status, right? Um, okay, yeah, okay. So if you're in a situation where you feel that you are being taken advantage of because of your immigration status, right? We've seen this happen in the job field to immigrants where they're unfairly treated just because of the fear factor that employers place on their workers. And unfortunately we're seeing that now when it comes to housing this COVID. There's been reports of folks trying to get evicted because of their immigration status, right? So just know that right now there are no evictions happening, right? All eviction proceedings and pending eviction orders have been suspended in New York City until June 20th. For everyone, no matter what your immigration status is, this means that your landlord cannot make you leave your home for failure to pay rent during this time. Okay. Some of the Instagram handles that I'm going to provide have support for this as well. Some of my students have been emailing this email here. So the Office of the Attorney General, so civil.rights@ag.ny.gov, or you can call a complaint at 800-771-7755. And again, this can seem, a little intimidating to some folks. So I would advise to find an advocate if you don't feel comfortable doing that. I'm going to be there for you. But this is something that needs to be reported. It needs to be seen so that changes can happen. All right. Okay. So before we talk about the Instagram handles, a way to stay involved and show support at Gutman is through the One More student organization. If you're interested in learning more about One More and joining One More, you can send me an email at nelson.castro@gutman.cuny.edu. We're in the process of not rebranding because we hadn't rebranded yet, but we're in the process of coming up with an Instagram handle. We have one up, but we're in the process of kind of fixing that up a little bit, as well as an official email address. But for now, right, we plan to have those things rolling by spring too. But as of
Nelson,
now, if you're interested, you can send me an email. Yep.
I just want to make sure that our community understands because this is something that happens often. that they actually reach out to Nelson.Castro@gutman.cuny.edu and not Nestor.Melendez@gutman.cuny, because that's a common mistake. I can understand how that would happen, but we want to
Yep.
make sure that the message gets to the right place.
That's right. That's right. I've been Nestor many a times. I'll say that much. Okay. All right. So again, these Instagram handles are some of you may follow some of these already, but if you don't, they're very helpful, and a lot of them are active with what's going on right now in COVID and everything. So we'll start off with, where are you, Nestor? Let's see.
I'm at Undocu PhDs.
Okay.
There is no practical or theoretical precedent for the inclusion of
Mhm.
undocumented students in academia.
Cool. Okay, on PhDs, yeah, and this is like super important because we don't see a lot of PhDs, a lot of immigrants. We don't see this in our campuses as much. We don't see this out in the world. So representation is everything. So this Instagram handle is a support system for that. So not only do you see folks that have earned PhDs and have insight and knowledge that could be helpful to the immigrant population and allies, but they're also high touch. So if you need help with an application, they provide that help as well. Tell me where you go next, Nestor.
We are at Undocu Black.
Yeah. So Undocu Black, this is a multi-generational network of Black undocumented people organizing for their communities and building power. A lot of the times when we think about immigration, we don't necessarily immediately think of the Black population within that. So this is a super informative handle, and again, it's a good support system, and representation is everything, and we need to know that the undocumented community is very, it varies, and there's a lot to it more than Latinos. Although in the current political climate, that's what gets kind of branded as. But this handle's super helpful for that.
Okay. Next, going to Make the Road NY.
Yeah, so Make the Road and Why. This is a nonprofit organization, and again, the messaging is similar in the sense that they're there to support the undocumented community. They're branded as building the power of immigrants and working class to New Yorkers to achieve dignity and justice. And they've and as you can see from the photo there, they not only have their own things going on as far as support for folks during the COVID era, but they're also very good at linking you to other stuff that's going on around New York that can be helpful.
And finally, Queer DEP, or next is Queer DEP.
Bring on those. So the Queer DMP. So this is the Queer Detainee Empowerment Project. It's a community-based post-release organization for advocating for LGBTQ and HIV and immigrants. Right. So it's a multi-layered, intersectional handle. Right. And it touches on each one of those things. And right now they're doing a big push on freeing up that are currently in prison, right? Where the response to the virus hasn't been the most proactive or action at all. So they're making a big push. They're doing phone bank calls to make sure that the folks that are in prison are getting taken care of or even noticed at this point.
Um, and then the next one is NYSYLC.
Yeah. So this is like the first undocumented youth-led organization in New York City. So these folks, hi Papa. So these folks were the high drivers. They were the ones responsible for getting the NY Dream Act passed. And some of you may have met some of the student leaders there. They were actually on campus last November, and they led a Know Your Rights Undocumented version of that in November. So they're there to support. We have some students that are in the leadership roles there. So follow them, NYSYLC.
Okay. And
I think we went through all of them, right?
Insta Baji is the last one I
Yeah.
see. Insta BAJI, young or elderly, hashtag we count.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So again, so this is another example of immigration not looking one faced or one way, right? So this is another organization that focuses on Black immigration, right, and what that looks like. And they do good work as far as advocating for their immigrants, and they are actually that they're actually doing a lot of work too with COVID and Corona as well.
Um, so we saw that one. We saw that one. And I think that's everything that you've put in the presentation.
Yeah, so again, the reason why I put these little Instagram, not little, but these Instagram handles is because I think where the message comes from is important, and this was a very quick kind of talk, and a lot of this may be forgotten what we said, but if you follow these Instagram handles. They're pretty active at the moment, so you'll be able to get new resources, new information, especially since stuff is like changing quickly nowadays. One thing could be one thing, and then the next day it could be depleted resources here, or this is no longer available, or there's a new stipulation. And these handles do a good job of keeping you updated, so that you get the information that you need. Yeah,
Yeah.
Papa.
Yeah, so it's interesting, Nelson, that it was kind of serendipitous that this topic is what we're talking about, considering that most recently the Trump administration just passed some legislation to effectively kill uh, communities. Specifically, the aid that the colleges are getting has been directed in such a way that um, our undocumented students are going to suffer for not being able to access that funding. So it's really great that we have on campus folks like yourself and some other members of your team. I believe you have two co-advisors that are working with you. You want to give them a quick shout out?
Yeah, so quick shout out to Serena Hardy and Taya Jackson. They have volunteered to be a part of the leadership team for One More. So they're going to be working to get that application in with us, and they've been actually involved with it since the beginning. So we've had programming the last year and a half, and Serena's a new SSA, but ever since she got here, she's been present at these functions and events. And Taya's always there to support, right? She's been there from the jump. They wanted to be involved. So I think we have a good support system there to help the students with what they need. Again, One More is student centered, so it's their ideas, their way. We're just there to encourage them, solicit advice when they need it, and plug them into campus resources, right? But we want to give them the ownership and the leadership to be able to sorry, to be able to yeah, Papa, um, to be able to take this one more thing to the next level. But quick
Yeah.
shout out to Serena and hey, if you're watching.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nelson, and thank you for your leadership in this space. Like you said, shout out to Serena and Atea, and most importantly, shout out to the students because I agree with everything that you said. But the thing that resonated with me the most was the piece around it matters who the message is coming from. So I'm very pleased to hear that the students that are part of the organization are really running it and pushing out the messaging and communicating with the students, and that you all have a litany of resources available for students. That's, I mean, obviously tremendously important. As Nestor said, the current administration in Washington has showed a disdain for our undocumented brothers and sisters, and we want to make sure that we do everything that we can to support them. So again, thank you for your service. Thank you to the team, and I want to say thank you to the students that have stepped up, and want to make sure that they know that they have my support and my backing, and I will do everything that I can to continue to support them and help them to be successful at government and beyond. So thank you very much, Nelson. So I want to transition a little bit and reintroduce Ms. Bindi Patel, Deputy to the Dean of Student Engagement, and give her the floor and an opportunity to discuss the programs. And, you know, one of those things, and this is a perfect segue, that we've been working on is some funding for our undocumented students. So, Ms. Patel, you want to take it away?
Sure. Can everyone hear me? Am I good? Awesome. So thanks for having me. As Charles mentioned, my name is Bindi. Perfect opportunity to be able to talk right after Nelson, to kind of echo some of the same resources that Nelson was sharing around undocumented students. The college has been making sure that we're putting together information that's readily available. So the resources that Nelson shared, you can find them on our personal well-being page. So Gutman created, just last week, we launched a new website, so gutmans@cuny.edu/personal well-being. So you can see the image, but on that site, there is a section just with resources for undocumented students. So of course, all of the links are there, then they can speak to their advisors or other people of the team that they feel comfortable with to help negotiate how to access those resources. Some of them specifically have funds that students can apply for. The one that Nelson was talking to, that was the first student-created undocumented organization, actually is giving out funds for students, and so they're fundraising. But in addition to that, we wanted to share a little bit of information about the funds that we have right at Gutman. So these are opportunities for all students, regardless of their status. So we traditionally have our Petrie Emergency Fund that our single-stop office helps students apply for to make sure that you can stay on track of your academic needs. But with everything that's happening, we created a special fund, the COVID-19 fund, where students would just need to share what challenges they're facing, and we can try and support them financially, whether that's with medical expenses, transportation to and from places, if it's housing, internet. So we know internet connectivity is a real challenge for a lot of students. So we want to be able to support that if we can. So there's a lot more flexibility that we have with this new fund. So we are really looking at all different ways that we can support students to make sure that they are supported emotionally and academically. With our emergency funds, I'm going to drop another email address to keep it simple. We want all students to just reach out to us at dean.ose@gutmans@cuny.edu. If you filter any of your concerns to that email, any member of the team will respond to you with the access or with information that you need so that we can support you. So again, if it's academic stuff, we've got folks on the team that will reach out to you, help facilitate conversations if they need to be with faculty. If it's financial things, again, we've got you. So you just have to also remember just dean.ose@gutmans@cuny.edu. It is being monitored all the time so we can get back to students immediately. And into the financial support on that personal well-being website, we've tried to gather all of the resources that, some of them, again, things that Nelson already alluded to, housing. So there's a whole section on housing. So folks that might be living in NYCHA housing, there is rent breaks, meaning free if you can't afford it due to issues. There's other things that you can apply for through the city that will support in either no rent or helping pay for some of your rent. And again, students can reach out to us if they're having those challenges as well, and we can work through what Gutman can offer. In addition to a lot of the housing things, there's information on the drop-in shelters, any domestic violence or gender violence places that we can talk to and reach out to. In addition, the food information is up there. So through the single stop office, we're still working and responding to all of the needs we have around food. So our food pantry is still open for students. So we want to make sure that those services are available. We would encourage students to try and access points that may be closer to their own homes. So we have information around the DOE sites that are offering meals to everybody, not just the DOE students and families, but to any New York City resident. There's also food banks that are open in neighborhoods that may be closer than Gutman is to a lot of students' homes. And then there's a lot of delivery that are available for students, for people that aren't able to leave their homes. So we're helping negotiate that too. For some of our students, we know that you are taking care of family. There's been different impacts that we've had because of this virus. So we're really working to make sure that we can support students in all of those realms. So to try and ease things, like I said, we're really trying to keep it simple. Email dean.osc@gutman.cuny.edu, and then we can filter to wherever it needs to go. There's a lot of stuff going on, so we don't want to overburden with like call this person, call this person, call this person. Like we will manage that for you. And then we also put a lot of information on the web, which is mobile friendly. So there's a lot of links, there's a lot of information, and if students, you all need support in accessing some of those resources, if it's something that you may not be able to negotiate calling and figuring out on your own, we can try and support that too. As I mentioned, the single stop services are up and available. So all of the health screening, the SNAP benefit screenings, those things are still available, and you can email the dean or just single stop at Gutman. So those activities that you would have dropped in on the lower level to talk to someone about, we're still making sure that students have access to those. So I just want to reiterate all of the information. You can find it right on the Gutman website, and of course, just email dean.osc because we really have a team of people checking that email and making sure that students are being reached out to, and we're negotiating individual needs because we know it's not one solution to everything that's happening. So we want to make sure that we're able to get each student the individual things as much as possible, as quickly as possible.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Bindi. Really do appreciate it. So for student emails, and obviously I think I should know this, but I want to make sure that folks are clear. For student emails, or if we get information out, from a member of our community, how quickly is the turnaround for outreach to a student?
Within the next day. So a student will get an email from one of our wonderful administrative staff, and that will loop in lots of different resources. So that one email to the student, because remember, we note that students aren't necessarily reaching out to us. They may be reaching out to their advisor, they may be reaching out to their faculty members, and then those messages are then getting filtered to us. And so we want to acknowledge that very quickly. So within the next day at max, a student will get an acknowledgement that, hey, your name was referred to us because we understand that you're having some challenges. With that one email, we're looping in multiple resources. We're looping in the wellness office. We're looping in academic affairs. Myself and the dean, Charles, we get looped in so we can also negotiate any of the financial needs that students may have. And then they would get additional follow-up from any one of these 4 resources, accessibility as well. So that if a student is registered with accessibility, they want to make sure that the student has what they need from that source as well. So really up to 4 people will respond within that day. So students will see various follow-ups from the original email.
Yeah, so one of the things I want to be clear about, thank you for that, with our students is we understand that telling the story repeatedly is a little bit difficult. We also understand that sometimes asking for help might also be a little challenging. We're here to support you. We will, like Bindi said, we're going to send, those messages. We ask that you open those emails, respond to those folks so that we can get you the support and the resources that you need as quickly as possible. So please, when you get those emails from my office or from the other offices in the Office of Student Engagement, we ask that you open them up so that we can do all we can to work with you to make sure that you have all the things that you need. So Bindi, is there anything else you want to give us before we move to the next segment?
No, I think it's all been shared.
All right, thank you. Thank you to Ms. Patel and Mr. Castro for your phenomenal support and leadership in all of these areas and supporting our students and their success at the college and in their lives. And because we recognize that things that happen at home absolutely have a direct effect on you and your success and your ability to show up and be the phenomenal you that you are. Because like I said, you are all superstars, and we're here to help you to reach that potential. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Nestor, do you have anything that you want to bring before the audience for the good of the cause?
Yeah, so real quick, I'm just going to show a couple of quick screen shares of folks that were mentioned in today's chat. Also want to point out that folks should look into the text thread. I've put in the links and some of the websites that were mentioned in today's conversation for folks to take a look at. It's important that they have a chance to check those things thoroughly, as there may be specifics. As Bindi said, each situation is unique, and so we want people to make sure that they're getting the information that they need directly for them. This first screen share is the first half of the promotional materials for the Advising and Transfer Support Office. And so what you'll see there is contact information, emails, and quick glances at the educational profile of some of the folks that are working with the students actively during this time to help get them moving forward to the next step. So this is page 1 of the academic advising team. And this is page 2, and featured prominently on that is Nelson. He mentioned Serena. On the previous page was Ateya. But these are wonderful, professional individuals who are, really doing their damnedest to make sure that our students are tended to and seen through the process. This is not easy for any of us, and I keep thinking about the serendipity, Dean, of how these things come together. We talked last week about the need to talk about our services a little further in depth, especially for some of our communities. The news hits us that there's some changes at the federal administrative level, and then here we are giving information to our community that directly relates to those things that are happening in the world. So it's a further example that this show is trying its hardest to be relevant and contemporary with the issues that are happening in the world. So I think with that, I'll end my comments and allow you to take us out of here for the closing segment of State of the Grizz.
All right, I had some computer issues, but I'm back. So thank you for that, Nestor. Students and community members, I say this every week, and I'm going to continue to say it as long as we continue to follow the governor's stay-at-home order, and we are social distancing. We got your back. As Nestor said so eloquently, we are in this together. This is the uncharted frontier. Every day that we go through this is the longest that we have dealt with something similar to this. So we are figuring it out together, and we want you to know that as we figure this out and we get new information, we're going to use this and other platforms to share that information with you. So please, like I said, continue to look at the emails. The websites are updated quite regularly, and as we receive information that we feel is helpful to you, we will continue to share that. We're continuing services, we're continuing engagements as well. So for those of you that are interested, there's going to be another SGA Live tomorrow at 3 p.m. So please take the opportunity to log in and make a new connection with a fellow Grizzly that you might not have had the opportunity to connect with on campus. And maybe once we return to campus, because we are planning to return to campus, because we're going to beat this thing, you'll have made a new connection and increased and expanded your network. Peer mentoring applications and opportunities to join that team still remain open. So please reach out to Mr. Andrew Bennett and company if you have questions, but would love to see and welcome a new group of mentors, as I know many of our mentors are going to continue to move on and grow and move into different opportunities. we have our HBCU.
Virtual tour that Dean Pryor, we just lost him to some technical difficulties, so he'll be returning. The HBCU virtual tour put together by the Office of Advising and Transfer Support. Howard University, Morgan State, Delaware State, and Virginia State are giving you an opportunity to see them virtually through this magical technology called the internet. There's also the HSI tour. I believe this is the first time that we're throwing this out into the universe, and so
yes, it is. As we continue our voyage into expanding the opportunities for our students to participate and continue their education at institutions that engage in and understand their identity as institutions that serve people, minoritized and underrepresented communities. So, please take an opportunity to participate in those. But, as I talked about what's going on in Washington, we have an important election coming up every year. But this year's important election is for the office of president. So please make sure you register to vote for that and the other local representatives that are on the ballot for this year. Like I said, every year is an important election, and if you haven't already, please make sure you fill out your census. Everybody needs to be counted. Counting and being counted in the census has nothing to do with immigration status, socioeconomic status, or any other descriptive things that folks have used to limit us over the years. The census counts who is in your district. It also decides how many dollars, based on how many folks are in the district, are allocated to your community. So please, it is equally important to register for the census and to get counted as it is to register to vote, because your vote becomes that much more important when the number of folks in your community are counted appropriately. So I want to take the opportunity to thank everyone again for participating and logging in. Like I said, I'm wearing green today because today is Earth Day. So please, take a moment and think about all of the things and how we utilize our natural resources. And if you have the facility to do so and the opportunity, please take an opportunity to plant a new plant or a flower. Also want to shout out our administrative professionals one more time. You do a phenomenal job. So a shout out to our own Esperanza, aka Essie, Rex Jiname, Christina St. John, and Aaron. I forget Aaron's last name, Ms. Patel. I'm sorry.
Golenoff. I can't pronounce it.
So thank you so much for all that you do. I mean, and most folks know this. I would not be able to even be functional and schedule meetings and a million other things without the administrative support. You all really keep the operation floating and moving in the right direction. So I thank you for all that you do, your support of me directly. But like I said, the way that you manage our operation and student engagement is second to none. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And last and certainly not least, to our students, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for allowing me to serve as your dean. And I want to reiterate, and I'll say it every week, and I'll say it multiple times, we got your back. We're here to support you. We're going to continue to engage with you. And we really hope that you have all that you need. And when you feel that there are some challenges or some issues for concern that are going on in your life, that you feel comfortable to reach out and know that we're here to support you. So thank you. Enjoy your day. And I look forward to seeing you next week here on State of the Grizz. Be well, Grizzlies.